computer. Just know that only what happens in the main room is recorded. So when we do breakouts and it's more intimate, perhaps, that will not be recorded. So it says it's recording. Yay. So we're going to start with the Ana B'Choach. I don't know about you. I've been at many Zoom things.
Yeah.
It's a big weekend coming off of Shavuot. Here in Berkeley, they're doing the all community Tikkun Leil Shavuot today because the Orthodox community couldn't participate when it was electronic. So the annual Tikkun that happens with everybody from every community, it's awesome, is happening today. So Shavuot is still in the airwaves here. And I think that it's going to be actually ongoing for quite a while, this download of Torah and radical receptivity. So I'm going to ask you to mute again, and we're going to chant. We're going to start with the Joey Weissenberg, first two lines of the Ana B'Choach. This is a prayer, as many of you know, but I'll just say it again. It's a mystical, amazing mystical prayer. It is based on, it's got 7 lines, 6 words each. So that's 42 words. And each of those words begins with one of the 42 first letters in the Torah. So it's a prayer of both protection and a prayer that invites us to participate in recreating the world, in a sense, in recreating the world, reconfiguring creation and partnering with the divine in that. And if there was ever a time when we needed that, you could say it's this moment, not that there haven't been many other such moments. So this first, what I'd like to do is to chant this rousing chant, which is really works with just the first 2 lines of the prayer. And just overall, I'll say that this is the matbea for the beginning of our time together. The first part of our time, I'd like to chant and then sit in some quiet meditation and then move. So before we speak, we're going to wake up our breath, our bodies, our intentionality, our kavanah, and then we'll come into some speaking and sharing from that place. So here's the melody of this. Some of you have done this with me before. And we'll just do the nigun first, and then for those who want to put in the words of the first 2 lines, we'll begin to do that in a moment. So it goes like this. I lie, la lie, 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 la lie, 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 lie. I lie, la lie, lie, lie. I lie, 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 lie. I lie, la lie, la lie. Lie, 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 lie. That's the first part. We'll do it a couple more times. I lie, la lie, 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 lie. Lie, lie, la lie, 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 la lie, lie, lie. Lie, lie, la lie, lie, lie. Lie, 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 lie. Ana b'choach gedulah mincha, tatir tzrura, tatir tzrura, alvelina, rinatamcha, sagveinu, tareinu, Torah. Ana b'choach gedulah mincha, tatir tzrura, tatir tzrura, alvelina, rinatamcha, sagveinu, tareinu, Torah. The second part has no words. I, I, Anna b'choa kedura jemincha tatir tzrura kabel rina tamcha sagvenu tareinu dora Anna b'choach gedulat yemimcha tatir tzrura kabel vina tamcha sagavenu tahareinu Ana b'choach, please, b'choach yamincha, with the strength of your chesed, of your right hand, of your loving kindness. Tatir tzrura, untie our tangles. Kabel rinat amcha, receive our piercing song. Sagvenu taharenu nora. Receive our piercing song, the piercing song of your people. Cleanse us, purify us. So, Reb Zalman brought us a beautiful nigun, and I'd like to just do this chanting now, and you'll see the words are there in English and in the Hebrew. So feel free to choose either English or Hebrew to go back and forth, or simply to hum this melody and really take it in to your body. It's like a soothing lullaby. It's as if we are summoning this protection. We are filling ourselves with this intention. Ana b'choach gedulat mincha tatir tzrura. Yeah, bye, 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 bye. Kabelina amcha sagvenu tahareinu nora. Yeah, bye, 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 bye. Nagibur dorshei chudecha kivavat shamrei. Yeah, bye, 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 bye. Baruchem Taharim, cleanse us and bless us. Rachamei tzidkatcha, infuse us ever. Yivavat Shomrei, Tamid Gomle, with loving care. Yai dai 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 dai. Chasin kadosh berov tuvcha nahel adatecha. Ay ay dai 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 dai. Yachigeh liamcha pnei zochrei kedushatecha. Yai ay dai 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 ay dai dai. Shavatenu kabel, hear our cry. Ushma ta'akatenu, yodea ta'alumo. Yai ay dai 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 ay dai dai. Baruch Shem, let's seal this protection into our bodies and our spaces and our world. Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed. Yai ai bye bye yai bye bye. If you have a candle handy, I'm just going to invite you to light it at this time. If you don't have an actual candle, this is a moment to light the candle of your mind, your heart, your virtual candle. And just a way to make the space more intentionally a sacred space it already is. And if you have that candle nearby, just to hold it up so we can all see it. Beautiful candles. Just look around at the candles of our faces and the faces that are not visible right now. We also are receiving this month of radical receptivity of Sivan, the art of receiving. We receive one another. And then if you want to just close your eyes for a couple of moments, put your candle down. We'll just take a couple moments here in silence to feel our way into each other and more deeply into your own body. Of course, this is always a moment when we go into silence when you might want to be with your breath and to begin to sense the universal rhythm of expanding, condensing, in which we are all participating together. Each breath brings you a little more deeply inside and also in connection with that universal movement, that rhythm, expanding, condensing, breathing world. In a moment, I'm going to put on some music and invite you just to follow this inner thread of your own meditative space into movement with an intention of perhaps simply finding the comfort in your own body, mind, spirit, self, finding what wants to move, opening to what is in the space with you, and warming up this receptive capacity a little bit further. You can always adjust the volume on your own device.
Diane, we can't hear the music. You were muted.
So just inviting us to find our way back, maybe not to completely settle yet. I'd like to do a little passing of the movement from square to square. And I thought about different ways to do this, but let's just do this for the sake of ease and expediency. So I'm going to start a movement, and hopefully you'll be able to see at least some of it. And I invite you to join me at whatever level works for you. It could be, a subtle version of what I'm doing, or an expansive version. And then I'm going to call out somebody else's name, and you're going to transform that into a different movement, and we'll all follow you. And then after you've done that for a couple of breaths, call out someone else's name, and we'll just pass the movement around, the movement leadership around like that, around our screen, and see how that works. So we've all been experimenting with different ways to dance together online. So I'm going to begin, and do feel free to stand or sit, whatever, and just join me. Could be small, could be big. And in a moment, I'm going to call somebody's name, and you're going to transform this into a different movement, and we'll all follow you. And then you'll call the next person. And I call on Carola.
Oh, well, maybe. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And I call on Joanna.
You have to unmute.
Yay!
Yay!
I call on China Bear.
I missed it. I missed the last movement.
I think it was.
Maybe I'll just make it up. Hey, but how about like something like this? Whoa! And Gwen, I'm calling on you in your perch. Maybe she doesn't hear me.
Goodness, no, I hear you. I'm pretty limited in what I can do, so I'm just gonna,
Let's do it.
Blow kisses.
And I call on Sharon.
I have to Yay! I think, well, I keep getting muted. All right.
No, you're good. You're good
You
now.
hear me now, making my weird noises. Now I forgot my thing. Yay! I'll call on Mimi. Yay!
Yay! Wow! Whoosh!
Whoosh.
Woo.
Woo.
And I call on Evelyn. Fly! And I call on Jennifer. Jennifer.
Whoa! 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 Delicious. And I call on Barbara.
I call on Ahuva.
Ah, 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 ah. And I call on Rivka.
I call on Eileen.
There you are. Thank you. And I call on, is there anyone who has not gone? Think.
Alisa.
Oh, I thought she did Elisa.
Swim. 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 Who else hasn't gone? Is that everybody? Back to Diane.
Let's all come close for a minute and share our faces, our eyes, and our fingers. And just say hello that way.
Hello.
Hi.
Bye.
Good. Sparkling. So we're gonna break into dyads now for some sharing time. And it's gonna take me a minute to create the dyads. So I wanna invite you during the minute or two that it takes me to do that, to just be with these questions, and maybe they'll guide your check-in with your partner, maybe not. And we're gonna have 10 minutes. So that's about 5 minutes per person. Pretty good amount of time. I'll try to give you a warning halfway through, so you make sure to switch in a timely way. These are the questions, and then you'll excuse me while I do the breakouts. So maybe you're holding some other questions too, but in light of this journey from Passover to Shavuot, how are you experiencing freedom right now, or lack of it? What are you learning, gestating, grieving? What Torah is beginning to take root in you, as we are still on this trajectory at the foot of the mountain? And if you'll remember, in the Torah, there was a massive explosion of consciousness, and then the people were there for another couple years. It wasn't just one night. And they probably should have been there much longer, but so just to sit with those, and in a moment you'll get an invitation to go into a dyad. Yes, a question.
Diane, I'm sorry. Could you repeat the second one again, please?
Second question was, what are you learning, gestating, and or grieving right now? And if any of those call out to you, or if they don't and something else might, that's fine. Just a way to get started. So in a moment, you'll get an invitation. And one person, Eileen, you're going to stay here with me in the main room, since there's an odd, not an even number of all.
Lucky me.
Hmm?
Lucky me.
Okay, I'm going to open the rooms and I'll try to give you a 5-minute warning. Here we go, and you'll have to accept the invitation. I'm going to pause the recording while we're doing this.
Hi, Diane. Just thought we'd ask for help.
Yeah, sure.
I can't hear Yosa at all. And then they offered this help button. So here I am.
Yeah, Yosa, are you there? I don't know, the connection isn't so good.
Yeah.
Did you update to Zoom 5.0? I think she's frozen.
Yeah. I didn't. I don't think I did. I thought it would probably happen on its own. I'm not sure about that.
Another thing that you can do
I don't know how to do that, by the way.
is to turn off the, there you are. You might have to turn off your camera in order for us to hear you properly. Not sure if it's the connection is not so good. Yeah, there's a thing where in Zoom preferences, it asks you to update to the
Oh,
current. So when you open the program, across the top of my screen, I see Zoom US, meeting view, exit, and if I,
Or connection.
yeah,
all right.
connection is very slow.
Uh-huh.
And Eileen got bumped out of my meeting with her. So
Yeah. So I'll just.
I think I'm going to just check out and see if I can update because this is frustrating.
I don't think it's you though, because
Oh, really?
I did update and I can't hear Yosa either.
Oh, okay.
And your picture is fairly frozen. So I don't,
Yosef,
yeah,
not mine, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, she might be on her phone even. I don't know, which I think is not so great.
I'm gonna call people back.
Yeah.
To the main room and we'll just try to deal with it there.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry,
It's okay.
takes about a minute for the callback thing. Yeah, I went through a lot yesterday trying to. So Yosa, if you want to return to the main session, we can meet up there and see if there's anything we can do. You're muted, Jennifer.
Corolla and I finished prematurely.
Oh, well,
I guess I was overexcited.
it's okay. So people are having some trouble. Eileen got bumped off the meeting and we couldn't hear Yosa. So I don't know if everyone updated to Zoom 5.0. That may be part of the problem.
Oh, no.
Welcome
Thank you.
back. So we've lost a couple people who got bumped from the meetings, from the dyads. And I don't know whether people were successfully able to update to Zoom and if that's part of the issue. But I lost Eileen and China Bear lost Yosa. So I hope they find their way back. I'm just going to email. So there's Joanna trying to return. This is, I just wanted to, thanks for bearing with all the technological stuff. I have several practices I really would like to share and develop with you today and to also have time to talk about them. But I just wanted to take time for a very, very short go round, like no more than 30 seconds or a minute each. If there's something you can encapsulate from your sharing, if you were lucky enough to be able to do it, that you want to bring back to the whole group, and maybe an item for the altar if you brought something, and if not, that's fine. But let's see if we can keep it really, really short. And then hopefully we'll have some more time to talk at the end. So I'm gonna call on somebody and then ask you to begin and then just call on the next person. And really just, I'm gonna ding after a minute if it gets longer. So Jennifer, you're already unmuted. Why don't you, if you would begin, that'd be great.
30 seconds. We moved from California to Massachusetts 2 months ago, right before California shut down. And I have been totally in the world of ASEA, doing, unpack, clean the house, find a doctor, find the vet, find, on and on. And I am just starting to come out of that. And I find myself at the base of Mount Sinai, just trying to listen really hard to what's new in me and what's new in the world. And so I'm very much at the base of Mount Sinai, and very much in the space of Shema.
Maybe I'll just ring in between and then you could call on the next person.
All right, China Bear, how you been?
Hello. I'm very happy just sitting outside here, and I'm sitting in what I call our Mishkan, our newly erected tent of meeting. And it's really nice because I can look at the garden. I'm offering to the altar these amazing, beautiful flowers, which are all from my yard. And this little pillow, which kind of symbolically, I'm into transformation. Let's just say gratitude and transformation. I finished 12 weeks of chemo. I'm in the in-between stage of revving up for the next thing, and just more than anything, just trying to really be present. Just about 30 seconds ago, one of the butterflies that have been attending to this garden for the last week flew by, the yellow swallowtail. And these butterflies really truthfully, especially in this last week, because I had a very bad fall the day after I finished chemo, and I really hurt myself. So I've been having to stay extremely still, although I'm moving a little bit today. But these butterflies have been symbolic for renewal, transformation, hope, beauty, fragility, impermanence, and being present. Dabarti.
If you would call on the next person.
Oh, Elisa.
I wish I could show you the turkeys that just passed by the house with all their little babies. So I offer them and the wildlife that's coming through these days, because things are so much more quiet, and they come through, but even more so. I'm really assimilating, integrating, meditating on Malchut this week and how I'm going to manifest everything from Pesach to Shavuot, but also this journey that we're continually all on, and a big time of transition that got set in motion before the pandemic, and that is changing synagogues, where I'll be moving as a cantor from Carmel to Santa Cruz. And so that I set that in motion, and then boom, pandemic. So just how to manifest everything that I'm engaging in and learning all the time, and just kind of letting it rest in me so it can manifest the way it's supposed to. Dibarti. And Barbara.
So the word that comes to me is hineni, because here I am in California, in a place I never thought I was going to be right now, but circumstances have happened. For those of you who don't know me, I'm from Minneapolis, which is probably in the news more than it's ever been before in the whole world. And so here I am in California and stayed because of the pandemic. I'm now staying because of that, and because my daughter is pregnant, who lives nearby. And so I'm gonna wait. So we're gestating. That's what we're doing. And I feel like in the period of gestation, it has been incredibly rich in being connected to this community and feeling connected to my Minneapolis political and Jewish community. So I feel, though, even though part of my heart is in Minneapolis, Hineni, I'm here and happy to be here. Evelyn.
I've just finished a very busy period, and so things are shifting, and I'm still remaining busy with kind of chaplaincy work. I was working in the hospital, and now I'm working in Zoom mostly and in phone call mode, and of course doing services and whatnot too, and did a lot of teaching this week. So it was very gratifying, but I'm feeling I was saying to Ahuva, I'm feeling a mounting grief. Like I'm just holding this grief about future. I have a young-ish son, you know, who's just was planning to launch, and he's really struggling. So it's interesting to watch myself. I think it's a Torah for me that I'm receiving, you know, about everything in a way, but it's still pretty fuzzy. The one request I have for Reb Diane is I'm really feeling bereft after counting the Omer every night and having this really special time with myself and sometimes with my family. And I want to have another counting practice. And I want to have a nighttime practice. So something, otherwise I have to wait till Tisha B'Av. Okay, so Debarti. Rivka.
This whole time's been an integrating time for me. After graduating from the Hashpa'ah program as a spiritual director and the DLTI program, and I think I may have mentioned at the reunion that I then had I'm now writing, tomorrow is the drop dead deadline for the Aleph rabbinic application. And so I had started at the end of December, put it down and picked it up really from Pesach to Shavuot. And so this has been an amazing time. And what has come out of it for me is to see my place in the world more clearly. Even with this online connection, something has really opened up. As I write, my sister's editing my CV, which I didn't even know what it was, a curriculum vitae, I get to see everything that I have done on this journey to arrive at this moment. So it's really beautiful, and then to just launch into the next thing. And it's just the continuum. It's not really anything bigger or better. It just is the continuum. And this program is what is such the strong piece. So to finish, the two things I continue to take with me is trusting in the flow, the presence, trusting, and the balance. And so, yeah, and I'm just grateful to Diane and to all of you for this embodied work, because that is what's carrying me through and will continue to. Debarti. Dear Gwen, Gal Yashira.
So nice to hear everyone and see everyone. So the two things that I shared with Mimi, one, feeling like and I've talked to Diane about this as well, feeling like I sort of hit up against the limits of my spiritual practice thus far in responding to some of the physical distress that I felt in the hospital when I had surgery at the beginning of May, and then afterwards, you know, when I got home, continued to be very difficult. I feel like I'm in something of a different place now than I was then, but there's a real kind of humility around, you know, seeing that despite all of my practice in many different ways, you know, I was not able to sort of meet with equanimity or acceptance or surrender what was happening to me physically, and feeling like there's a lot of work for me to do, and really making room for the idea that I may have an idea of what I want, of how I want my life to be, or how I want to respond to things, and that, you know, may not be how I actually respond to things in a given moment. And how do I sort of lean into that, you know, into that sort of humility portal, you know, so that I can continue to evolve, and sort of evolve my own sort of sense of myself and practices. And the other thing that I shared was just a really profound grief about the country. I hate being from this country. I've never felt identified with the US, and even more so now, it feels really like we are living in a failed state. And there's just, I feel a deep sense of sorrow, really triggered by what happened to George Floyd, but it's in the background, if not the foreground for me a lot of the time. Just a really deep sense that this country was founded, you know, with a fatal flaw, slavery, you know, that it's just not possible for this country to exist in a healthy way given its origins. And so feeling a profound sense of being trapped and sort of suffocating in this very narrow place of our country. Barty.
And Gwen, before you call, people are doing a really good job of essentializing, and I just want to remind you to try to get the nugget, because time is shorter than we always would wish, and so go ahead, Gwen.
I will call on Ahuva.
Hi. I feel like I don't know what to say. I feel like I'm in a place of unknowingness. I have had a good friend living here for the last month, and before that I was alone for 6 weeks, and a lot of grief came up. So it's up for me too, but I feel the same way about the country. It's just, I cannot stand it. And I've been limiting my exposure to the news because I can't take it in. And that's been really good for my mental health. And I've been listening to music every day, and I've been gardening, which has been wonderful. And I've been walking every day, but now I have a knee injury, and it's just pissing me off. Because the movement has been what has been, you know, helping me stay balanced and kind of okay. And I'm really missing my daughter and my grandkids who are in Seattle. And when I'm in the moment, I'm fine. And when I'm thinking about my wishes and my vision for what I want us to be doing, this is such an opportunity to do what we need to do to stop climate change, for example. And how do we get the collective will to move forward in the middle of the craziness that we're in? So anyway, I'm living in a bunch of questions right now. It's like I want to say, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I am, you know, I'm writing and I'm doing art and so on, but it's more of it feels about questions right now, and grief. Oh. Carola?
Yeah, questions and grief and tears, sowing tears and reaping joy. So water, to me, what is happening is that the pause and the lockdown and the contemplative life nourishes me tremendously. So counting the Omer ripening and then realizing outside in the Netherlands, we have a huge water problem, which is totally paradoxical because of all the water. And still we have, and so struggling with that also in how people deal with each other, very often very harsh. So I realized I need to become much more a water, a part of the flow of life, not necessarily through tears, because my melancholy can suffocate myself. So more by softening or being more liquid, more sensing. So I'm discovering by coloring and drawing and breathing, then I get more in a flow and able to communicate from my heart and even invite other people to communicate. And even if they are harsh or opinionated, then maybe there's no way, but then I can keep my own flow going. So I'm really grateful for that insight. So I'm have to learn to be water itself. And Sharon, would you share?
Yes, thank you. I'm in a really wonderful place here in my home. I feel a sense of absolute wonder and beauty all around me in my environment. It is amazing to me that that exists simultaneously with the Best Buy that I normally shop in, having been looted last night.
Oh.
So that and multiple streams of things that are happening at the same time are all happening at the same time. And I wonder what that means, if anything, and I wonder how it's all going to turn out. And what I would say that came out of my conversation with Rivka, two thoughts that are one from one of us and one from the other, and they are very much related. And that is that we are ready and we have forever. And I'll call on Eileen.
Hi, thanks. I want to apologize. My computer shut down right after I shared with Reb Diane. I'm so sorry. So I messaged you, I sent you a chat. It took me a while to restart it and get it back going. So I wonder if you could take the time, Reb Diane, and share now what you want with the whole group that I didn't get to hear, and then I'll go.
It's okay. You go first. I'll wait to the end.
So I missed the directions. I heard something about one word, but
It's like one essential, yeah, from what you shared, or
one nugget. Well, first of all, everybody said the same thing, and I started and I shared with Reb Diane this feeling of I don't recognize this world anymore, and I'm torn between wanting to keep my head under the covers and not get out, and then discovering what I can do in my small space. And the thing that is gratifying for me, I probably am not spending enough time doing my own spiritual practices, but what gives me spiritual practice is helping others. So I've jumped aboard this task force for the American Psychological, and we're actually working with the UN to gather trauma resources. And my committee is all the outrageous ones, the creative arts, movement, dance. And so I'm getting blasts of all these wonderful resources of creative ways of dealing with trauma. We're creating hotlines, training programs. So I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm working hard, but in my bubble, I'm really happy and just happy to be this gorgeous surroundings. And this gap between me and what I see on the news is unbearable. Yeah, it's unbearable. So personally, I'm in a very good space and filled with gratitude, and feel like, I think, as Rivka said, that I'm getting that this is where my life is headed now. There's a lot of creative energy coming up for making things happen that maybe I can do a teeny bit. So it's exciting. And And I feel like I had a webinar with young women that it's all about mentorship, and then I'm really actively passing the torch on. You do it, the world needs you. Bring movement there, bring movement there. And it's exciting to see them blossom. So, Barty.
So if you would call on next person, there's still a couple people besides me who haven't gone. I think Yosa and Mimi.
Are you passing, Reb Diane?
You pass.
You. I choose you, will you?
Oh, me. Okay. All right. You choose me. This is very, very hard. And I was appreciative on Erev Shavuot to be able to do this Taproot gathering, which gave me space. The small groups I was in were both process groups in a way. Other people were leading it, and that gave me space to really sob, which I've been needing to do for quite a while. It's very, as people have said, there's a huge disjunct between the inner peace that I can feel when I'm going into a deep practice space and the sense of complete jaggedness and overwhelm that I feel as soon as I look out at what's happening. And that's manifesting in my relationship with Bert, with my partner, who, we're in a fairly small space. He's not very mobile. Neither of us are very mobile. We're not getting out at all. And I'm feeling that beginning this week, as a big spate of stuff has passed, I want to recalibrate and make sure that I'm doing more to process in movement and outside. And so my altar item is this beautiful scarf that was given to me by a member of my community, which I put on top of my computer when I turned it off, and it hasn't been on there very much. So yeah, that's my altar item. And I will cede the floor to Yosa. I hope we'll be able to hear you. I'll ding for myself.
Thanks. I feel like I really need to go quickly because my computer is so old and my internet connectivity is so bad. So I'm in a great place physically, and internally it's been a transformative experience. I've done so much right before Passover, and I'm continuing just to open and flower and choreography. I've written grants, and I'm going to be
Excuse me, it might help if everyone mutes themselves.
So I just feel I'm blossoming in many ways. And now I'm an embodied facilitator for the temple. I'm continuing my practice, but everything is now virtual. So that's a big change. I mean, so I'm doing this as an artist, which is, which is like, but I've got all the analytical mind that's prompting me. But what I guess the nugget would be for me to share that what has been so important and so hard to grasp is that every situation is an opportunity. Every situation is an opportunity. And it's trying to integrate that part of our life we know as Jews is, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, the Yitzhak, and what's the other part? You all know it, okay?
Yetzer HaTov.
Right, Yetzer Tov.
So, how do we integrate what we know, what we know and we feel? How do we integrate that as human beings, in our lives every day? So it's been very insightful time, as it could very scary. And I bring to the altar more of my love.
Thank you. So I think Mimi, right? Are you the last one?
Hi, everyone. Oh, well, the first thing I want to say is that I'm really loving getting to know more of you. Jennifer, I moved from California to Massachusetts, back to Massachusetts a year ago. So we need to connect. That would be really great. And I do also share there was a sense of, wow, here we are, the 49th day, and I have really just embodied the whole Omer practice, and I totally agree with Evelyn. There was a sense of it's over, but it's not over. And Shavuot continues. I love that. And yesterday I had a creative practice where it was more of an integration of that, like a Shavuot part of that. But I would would love another counting. It's taken on a different essence, I think, for me too during this amorphous, like, what day is it? And it just really grounded. And Diane, I loved the connection between Malchut and alignment. That was so helpful. And I've been meditating with that. So here's my sharing. One, I'm in the sense of awe around me. I was at the beach with my two friends, 6 feet apart today, and had lunch. There's such beauty around us. And then here's a picture. My altar picture is my son. I don't know if you can see him. He's an African-American man. And he called me up yesterday from Eugene, Oregon. So he's near you, Rivka. And he said, "Mom, I'm okay." I went, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" And he was 3 blocks away from the protest that turned into violence. And so I too am grieving, like so all of us. Yesterday at Zoom services during the mourner's Kaddish, I was just in tears. And I think, like you, Diane, I had a deep cry, like I have just needed to cry. And so I'm in a state of awe, and I'm in a state of grief and outrage, and holding the alignment at the base of the mountain. Departi.
My altar item from my garden.
Thank you. I wish you could put that where we could keep seeing it. It's so gorgeous. Thank you, everybody, these deep shares. I'm gonna invite us to just take a moment to receive all that. And this is the new technique, the new Zoom technique I learned from my young colleague, of just bringing your thumb up to your own camera on your device so that we can just have a moment of privacy. We're still together, we're touching, but we can be in private and absorb the fullness of what everyone has shared. To breathe it in and out. So the out breath is so important, the release. Not rejecting, not defending, but simply restoring that watery, breathful flow that Carola talked about. And then as we bring our thumbs back and we see each other again, you might just want to touch the tip of your ear and your other thumb with your thumb and your big toe. And this is the place that the priest would touch the oil and the blood to seal in the healing. So, and toe. So we're going to take a short break for body and bio. Let's try to do just like 5 minutes or so. And I do want to share some practices, and maybe we can brainstorm together about how to continue the trajectory of the Omer and that kind of rooting in present moment and day by day as we go forward. So take maybe 5 minutes to get water, bathroom, whatever, and I'll call you back in 5.
Diane,
Yes.
do you want me to sit with you for 5 during this time or after?
No, it's fine. I have been doing a lot of sharing, but I'm good. But thank you.
Mimi, excuse me. Mimi, I'm in Eugene. I would really appreciate having a text or an email for your son, if he wouldn't be offended that his mother's friend. But I feel terrible about what happened here, and so and everywhere, of course. But
Yes.
I would love to connect.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Ana b'choa kedula mincha, tatir tzrura, tatir tzrura, kabel rinatamcha, sagveinu tareinu Dora. Ana b'choa kedula mincha, tatir tzrura, tatir tzrura, Avelina, Rinatamcha, Sagveinu, Tareinu, Ora. Ana v'choa gedulat mincha, tatir tzrura, tatir tzrura, Avelina, Rinatamcha, Sagveinu, Tareinu, Ora, Welcome back. So, I heard the question. I heard the bereftness about the ending of the Omer, and that focused, concentrated period of practice. And maybe that's something we will need to meditate on together. But the practices that I wanted to share with you today are helping me. They're practices that some of them we've sort of done versions of them together, or you've done parts of them with me, or they're an expansion of something. But this first one is definitely helping to root me in time. And it got inspired by our last gathering during the retreat, when we chanted when we did the nerve release and the Havaya breath, and then we chanted the arrangement of the Yud He Vav He letters for the month. And we're now in a new month. And I spent the entire rest of the month of ER working with that arrangement of the letters, which was Yud He He Vav, and working with movement and the breath and making that a part of my morning practice. And so I just started working with Sivan. And I'd like to kind of review the nerve release and the Havaya breath, and then teach you at least my what I'm playing with for Sivan. Each time, and then each time I change the arrangements of the letters, it's asking for a new integration through the body. And I'm a little bit overflowing with material, so I hope I don't over-complexify this. But what Mimi mentioned about the Malchut alignment, which we did in the Monday Omer class that I was teaching during those 7 weeks for the Aquarian Minyan Yeshiva, I've been developing that practice. So there's a lot about Malchut Shekhinah and that relationship between what has been masculine and feminine, and a real integration, and how that integrates through the body, and how that can set you up for the kind of balance and resilience that we're all needing so much of right now. And then there's also the 4-chambered heart practice, which for me has connected to Moda Ani. And again, that's a development of something that I have taught before, but have been working on it in a much more detailed way with different qualities. And I'll just say that for myself, my nightly practice is a gratitude practice. And I actually have a notebook next to my bed, and I'm sure some of you do this as well, but that's when I do it, is at night. And as soon as I kind of get into bed, there's also the bedtime Shema practices, which are helpful. They're not counting practices, but the gratitude practice does help to root me in this day, because I write down as much as I can, bring forth what I'm grateful for in that day. And some days I'm ending the day in a really bad place, and it's kind of a grumpy gratitude, but nevertheless, I mean, like, can I find gratitude for, and is usually as soon as I start writing, a few more things reel out. If I can find even one thing that touches the fullness of my being from that day. And then this practice of the nerve release is in the morning for me, and it's part of my daily morning practice, which I'm so grateful to be able to do every day, pretty much every day. So if you want to stand for this, and if there's injuries and you're not feeling good about standing this, you can also sit. Put on my other glasses so I can still see you. So if I stand this far back, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Sorry you can't see my whole body. I don't have that kind of camera and mic set up yet. Maybe that's down the road. But just to recall, the nerve release, I wanted to read you something, actually. It's fine to stay standing, but this little book is called Gravity, and it's by Steve Paxton, who's the originator of contact improvisation. Oh no. You all froze.